been one where I read. This has been one where I. Why can't I speak? You know what? Start the episode. Welcome back to the ChefBoyRDN podcast with your host, the ChefBoyRDN. And yeah, we've come to the end of season 1. This is episode 18. And it's been a fun ride. So I hope that you have enjoyed. I want to open the episode by just saying thank you. Thank you for anybody who listened, who liked the video, who supported. I don't care if you clicked on it for 3 minutes. Whatever you did, I appreciate it. I appreciate the people who have been rocking with me from day one all the way up until now. I appreciate the people that tuned in for particular episodes that they were very interested about. I appreciate the people who just like the videos on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the little clips. I appreciate everything because it kept me motivated, it kept me going, and it is my dream coming to life, which is to be able to help my community as much as I can. To provide nutritional information to the masses, to make it digestible, to make it fun, interesting, to make it more relative. And so I hope that I've done that. Now, in doing that, we've gone through, at this point, 17 episodes. Today is the 18th. And with those 17 episodes, I have tried my best to continue to push the envelope as far as making sure the place looks decent aesthetically, making sure I look good aesthetically, as well as working on just how I present, trying not to say as many times. Sometimes, it just happens, it just comes out. But I would like to, if I could give myself a pat on the back, I would say that I've come a long way. And to prove that, we have a clip from the first episode, the pilot episode, which was just about ChefBoyRDN. Now, I didn't even air this video because when I look back at it, I was like, I think I'm going to just do the audio for now. So you getting to see it for the first time, and you'll see it. It looks pretty different from how it looks today. So definitely check it out. Don't laugh too hard, and I'll meet you back on the other side. What's up, everyone? I want to officially welcome you to the first, yes, the inaugural episode of the ChefBoyRDN podcast. Let's go. So this is the first episode of the ChefBoyRDN podcast with your host, the ChefBoyRDN. Yes, I am the realest dietitian that you will ever meet in your life. And I'm excited to have you here. Super excited for our first episode. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm extremely excited. And I'm looking forward to having a good conversation with you today. So today I thought I'll open up our inaugural episode with just telling you about the pod, telling you everything that you need to know as far as what's coming up and what's my reasoning for doing it. But before we even get into any of that, I think that it's beneficial to start with, who am I, right? Because why am I qualified to give you this good information? And it will be all things nutrition, diet, exercise, all that good education, all wrapped up into one, aka lifestyle, right? So my journey starts actually at 7 years old. At 7 years old, I was a very energetic kid. I was always running around and doing things like that. And for whatever reason, this particular day, I wanted to cook. And so my mom allowed me to cook, and she showed me how to make an egg. And honestly, it just kind of went from there. So I used to watch kids television a lot, and I would watch all the shows that had like the little cooking segments for kids. We would try it. I would convince my family to let me try it, and they didn't really like it, but it's all good because we're here now. But from there, I really started to just develop a passion and a love for cooking. And so I started watching the Food Network, and I would binge watch all of those shows. And that was kind of my first foundational or groundwork for what would become the ChefBoyRDN. So we are back. I wanted to open the episode up with that because this episode is going to be a little different. This episode is just going to be a look back. We're going to look at some of the things that I really liked to talk about when I talked about it, some of the things that I got a lot of feedback from you all about. And we just going to kind of go through this season, wrap it up with a bow. You know what I mean? So, the first episode that we're going to look at is episode 3, The People versus Water. Now, this was the first time I felt like that I had a lot of feedback from this episode. And I would like to think that I helped to motivate some people to drink some more water. I mean, because I've been talking about it every episode since. So I really hope y'all really focusing on this water. But take a look at this clip. This is episode 3, The People versus Water. And in this clip, I'm explaining the 80-20 rule. I really believe in something that I call the 80-20 rule. So you want 80% of your hydration to be water. It can be flavored. It can be flavored with lemon or lime fruits. It can also be flavored with things like ginger and mint, things like that. You know, just simple flavorings, natural flavorings. But you want that to really be water. And then with that 20%, for my money, I don't really care what you use to hydrate with that extra 20% between like a sparkling water or like even, is the dietitian going to say it? Yeah, like a 0-calorie soda or a sugar-free drink or a diet drink or something like that. That 20%, you can do whatever you want, but let that 80% really be water. And that way you know that you're properly hydrating yourself. Now, if you are not already at half of your body weight in kilograms in water, you definitely want to work your way up. Don't jump from drinking a bottle a day to going to 7-8 bottles of water a day, because you're going to be in the bathroom all day. And I don't want you to get fired because I told you to drink more water. So what I want you to do is slowly work your way up. Maybe if you're doing like disposable water bottles, start with whatever you normally do around. So let's say you do around 3 to 4. Maybe the goal is 8. What you would do is you would consistently lock in on 4 for the rest of the week, right? That following week, you want to increase by half. So you'll go up to 4.5. Or you can increase by a whole bottle. It depends on how much you can take, right? So you go from 4 to 5 or 4 to 4.5. Each week, increase by either half or by a bottle. And before you know it, you've made it to that 8. Your body has had a chance to kind of regulate itself better. There will be some times where you go to the restroom more, but you will be able to get through it without just living in the restroom for like 2 weeks. Okay. So that's how you do that. Now, I hear some people out there asking, isn't that too much water? Isn't it too much water? And what I will say to that is, obviously, if you have any type of condition where you have to limit the amount of water that you consume, let's say chronic heart failure or kidney disease, dialysis, if you're on any of those things or have any of those things, then of course speak to your clinician, speak to your doctor. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that clip. Yo, somebody is fixing the roof outside. I didn't know what that sound was. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that clip. We're going to go to the next clip, and this is actually from its neighbor, episode 4, and this is called Finding the Protein. In this episode, a lot of people, I think protein is so common. Everybody kind of talks about it. Everybody knows a little bit about it. But I really broke down the benefits of protein, what it does in the body, where you can find it, and the uses. And so in this clip, I am just telling you where you can find protein. 2 different places. As I say in the clip, I say it all the time. Let's roll the clip. There are 2 different places. And I always say this, but it's the same 2 different places. It's either animal products or plant-based products. So come on, follow me here. Now, with the animal-based products, any type of meat, lean meat, really any type of meat is typically going to have some protein, right? Unless it's like a completely um, fatty meat, then it won't have any protein. It'll just be fat. But most meat is going to have protein in it. Really, almost all meat. When it comes to protein, the leaner the meat, the more percentage of protein it typically tends to have. Now, the highest amounts of protein that you can get out of meat typically reside in chicken breast. You can get a lot of protein from chicken breast. You can get a lot of protein from tuna, a lot of protein from fish in general. You can get a lot of protein from salmon as well. So those are going to be meats that have a lot of protein. Of course, we know you get protein from beef. Um, you can get protein from pork. You can get protein from fish, including shellfish. You can also get protein from animal byproducts. So these are the things that are produced by animals. Those are going to be things like eggs. We know that protein is definitely found in eggs. And actually, it is higher percentage of protein in the yolk than it is in the white. But we use the white typically when we're trying to raise the protein level because the yolk also has fat in it. Just a little FYI. Nice little party trivia you can pull out at your next party and everybody think you're smart. Now, you can also find protein in milk and dairy products. Cottage cheese is super high in protein. If you like it, not a fan. And yes, I've tried good culture. I've tried it all. Daisy, it's all nasty. Now, some people like it. And if you like it, kudos to you because it is very high in protein. You can also find protein in Greek yogurt. You can find protein actually in just straight up standard milk. All milk has a certain amount of protein in it. Now, Fairlife, if you've ever heard of that brand before, I don't know if they throw a little extra protein in there or do something special with the cows, but that milk in particular tends to have a lot more protein in it than just regular milk. And then speaking of milk protein, you have two different types. You have what we call casein and whey. And typically, whey is the one that they will take out of the milk and use that to make protein shakes and protein powder, things like that. So if you've ever heard of like whey isolate or whey protein, that actually comes from dairy. And it's one of those two proteins, which is again casein and whey. So those are kind of all of the places you can find it. Did I say Greek yogurt? That's one of my favorites. You can definitely find it in that, but again, that's going to be that casein in that way. Now, one thing I will say is if you are trying to get more proteins and less fat, you want to choose leaner meats in general. So chicken breast is going to have a higher percentage of protein than say like a chicken thigh. When you are looking at ground meat, typically ground meat has the percentages you see like 80, 20, 70, 30, things like that. What that is a percentage. The higher number tends to be the percentage of lean meat. The lower number is the percentage of fat. And so when it's 80-20, it's 80% lean, 20% fat. You want to kind of stick to the leaner meats if you're trying to, again, get a higher ratio of protein. The last thing I will say about protein is when it comes to beef in general, um, sirloins, fillets, those are going to be a lot higher in protein than like a ribeye or my personal favorite, a New York strip, because those have the marbling in them. The ribeye, the New York strip, you can see the marbling, the fat cap. Again, that is going to take away from the amount of protein that is held in the ounces of that meat. Now, where can you get it in vegetables? Okay. So, protein, of course, if you ever go vegan or if you just eat it because you like it, right? There are a lot of meat alternatives. Um, Field roast, Impossible Burger, Beyond Meat, which is beyond gross to me. What else? There's just a bunch of those types of things. So you can definitely get protein from that. But you can also get protein from more natural sources. You can get protein from soy. Soy actually is one of the few plant-based products that has that complete protein. It has all nine of those essential amino acids. And you can also get protein from mushrooms. Mushrooms are also going to be a complete protein. Let's kind of talk about pairing things together to get the protein. So remember I said there are non-essential amino acids. Sometimes some food has some food has another. You put those together, you can make a complete protein. So an example of that is when you pair nuts and seeds with grains. If you prepare legumes and grains, both of those, when you put those two together, they make a complete protein. So an example of this is like red beans and rice. That's going to be a complete protein. With the nuts and seeds and grains, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or almond butter and jelly sandwich. That's going to be a complete protein. So you can find protein. Protein, of course, is in nuts. It's also in quinoa. It's a good source for plant-based protein. So you can find protein in a lot of different sources. So I hope you enjoyed that clip from finding the protein. I still don't like cottage cheese. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And Beyond Meat is still Beyond Meat. So definitely Beyond Meat. I know I've been, kind of poking at y'all a little bit, but if y'all want to sponsor me and let me get in the lab, we could definitely make some magic together. I believe that I can help y'all because we're sick of acting like this vegan shoe leather that y'all are selling is good. It's not good. So yeah, hit me up. But anyway, the next episode is from I would say the first time I felt like I really started kind of feeling my stride. I felt really comfortable in front of the camera. I even put my arm back like this. And fun fact, I don't know if you can see it. I actually got a bruise from that and it turned into a scar. Ain't that kind of crazy? A bruise from the little metal things. And so like it's like you can see the circles on my arms. Crazy. Would have never expected it. But anyway, let's go to the clip. This is 20 pounds down in 3 months without losing my mind. Episode 8. If you are just trying to lose weight by any means necessary and you really aren't changing your life, it's not going to be beneficial in the long run. The second thing that I did to lose weight was put myself in a calorie deficit. So you can literally do this a couple different ways. The easiest way to do it, it's the easiest way, but it's the most tedious way, and that's by tracking. You can get a tracker app. I used Chronometer. Shameless plug. Y'all need to pay me. But I used Chronometer and I tracked my food intake throughout the day. And so basically, what I did was I put myself in about a 500 calorie a day deficit. And you can do anywhere from like 500 to like 800 calorie deficit and be okay. And I prioritized, you know, times of day that I ate, but also what I was fueling my body with. Because there are a lot of things that will help satisfy you and keep you fuller longer. And then there are things that you can go through a bunch of it and you like, I'm still hungry. Where did it go? Right. So with the calorie deficit, you can use those apps or you can just start getting rid of high calorie foods that's in your diet. One of the easiest ones to get rid of is high sugary beverages. I tell people all the time that come in my office, the one of the easiest things to lower your daily caloric intake, if you're a big juice or soda drinker, is to completely cut that out. Being mindful of what you're drinking, trying to drink water as your main source. We talked about water on the water episode, so that'll go back and listen to that. That'll tell you how much water you should have in a day, but really making the switch to water. And if you need something sweet, having a sugar-free beverage of some kind. Now, I will tell you, as I said earlier, I'm not a big soda drinker on a regular basis. I'm going to be honest with you, though. When I was specifically in the calorie deficit and trying to lose weight, I drank soda more and I drank the sugar-free soda just to help with some of my sugar cravings, right? So if you need it, use those, the zeros, the diet, whatever it is. Sodas are very high in sugar. And they're what we call empty calories. So you get calories, but you don't have the sensation of feeling full. And so you will continue to eat. I promise you, you will feel 200 calories worth of chicken breast all day before you feel 200 calories worth of Coke. And y'all Coke people, let me be honest with you. Coke, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, Mountain Dew. It's ridiculous. Especially Coke, but the other ones too. The addiction, guys, we got to talk about it. I have one lady who has type 2 diabetes who I'm working with, and she could not let the Coke go. Like, sat in my office and went back and forth with me about why she couldn't get rid of the Coke. And she needed to. Like, her diabetes was really uncontrolled at this point. And so we talked about alternatives, looking at Coke Zero, looking at uh, um, uh, Diet Coke, looking at different other zero and diet dark beverages that could maybe take the place. And then, of course, we mainly talked about switching to water, right? Flavoring it, doing whatever you need to do. But we gotta, and I'm glad I'm not in my office. I'm talking to y'all, so we can talk honestly, right? In my office, sometimes I put the knee pads and the elbow pads and the braces and all that stuff on, and I present it in this nice way. But let's be honest. Grow up and drink water. Grow up and drink water. Water is good for you. I've never not liked water, so I can't understand when people say, I just don't like the taste of water. So I can empathize in the fact that I've never had that experience. But with that being said, I have had things that I just don't like the taste of, like medicine. But guess what? When I'm sick, I take it. And especially if I have a cold or something, to be honest with you, if I do have to take medicine, I'm taking the nasty liquid stuff over a pill any day because I just have better outcomes with that. But that stuff is disgusting. I hate it. But guess what? I take it and I get better. Just think of water as something essential that you need in your body. And if you are a person who just can't fathom the idea of drinking water, flavor it with berries, flavor it with strawberries, raspberries, pineapples, whatever you have to do. But you need to be drinking water, especially if you're over the age of 18. Like, we grown now. Come on, man. What are we doing? For real, drink some water. So the other thing is, obviously, if you are drinking alcoholic beverages, you definitely want to cut that out. It's just very high in calories. It's not worth it. I could go on and on and on. But if you are trying to manage your weight, that's something that is just going to work against you. All right, you see your boy. You see him. Got comfortable. I mean, sitting back, chilling, relaxing. You know what I'm saying? And this was the first time I really did feel like we was just having a good old conversation. So I appreciate you for making me feel comfortable. All of the feedback, all of the good stuff. I appreciate it. So in this next clip, I would say, maybe a little too comfortable. This was a bonus episode where we talked about fruit, and it was the truth about fruit. And this was what I called episode 9.5. And it actually featured a very lovely, beautiful, fine, just wonderful, wonderful lady, my wife. We talked about fruit, and in the episode prior, we actually tried dragon fruit. So if you haven't seen that episode, go look at it, see how we felt about it, and then go check out the bonus episode, which is just us just being ourselves, having fun, laughing, and talking about fruit and how we don't really experience a lot of fruit exposure here in the US. Now, it is getting better. They're bringing more different types of fruit here, but we just had a whole conversation about this. So check that clip out, and I'll see y'all on the other side.
Hope you have me come back for something good. This is horrible. This is a genuine reaction. There was no put on whatsoever. I remember trying this and Starfruit and being like,
I like Starfruit.
And being like, yeah, I don't have to try any exotic fruits. Kiwi is where it stops.
Starfruit? No.
Starfruit is like,
when it's sweet, it's good.
But you want to know what's something? I really don't. I don't think people give enough fruit tries. They just stick to like, we're off air, right? No?
No.
Oh.
No, go ahead. We're listening.
This isn't for the show.
Okay.
You don't have to put this on there.
I don't have to. It's just recording. I might find something I like.
I just feel like today when we went to the store, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw the yellow watermelon and the
Mm-hmm.
pink, pineapple, and I was like, wow, but everybody growing up is like apples, oranges. Some people are like, ew, I won't eat kiwi, or ew, I won't do cantaloupe, or ew, I won't
Well,
do honey.
part of that is we are so limited in our thinking when it comes around food. Think about all of the foods that we eat as Americans and how limited we are when we look at food from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't grow as much.
No.
But
we've never, soursop is not a common thing. Right. Durian, jackfruit is just becoming common, and we don't even eat that fresh like regular fruit. We use it as a meat substitute. So yeah, no.
You want to know what's so cool? Like, it wasn't until when I was in Jamaica as a kid and I saw green oranges. Like, on the outside, the skin is green, but on the inside it's orange, and it's sweet. And then you would think it was a lime. But so ever since then, I've always been intrigued by fruit.
Yeah. I think my favorite exotic fruit that I tried was mangosteen.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like almost kind of like cloves of garlic almost, but it's sweet. It's good. I also, you know what I want to try? I want to try monstera fruit. Have you ever seen that from the monstera plants?
I have, actually. Have you ever tried guinnep?
I haven't. Have you ever tried soursop?
I haven't. Have you ever tried? But no, guinnep is actually, it's another fruit in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. Very good, very delicious. You pop it out of the little, I guess, hole or whatever, and you suck on the I guess it's like a seed, but it's covered in like stuff, almost like a cherry.
Is it like
seed.
A black seed?
No, it pops out, and it's been forever, but I want to say it's like a peach color on the inside, but it's very juicy, and you suck on it. It's delicious.
What about breadfruit?
I must die. That dragon fruit shark killed me.
I cannot.
Breadfruit's delicious.
Yeah, I've had it for the first time with your grandmother.
Yes.
Last month. Oh, and Aki. Not last month. I apologize. Last year is what I meant. Was that last year?
It was a long time ago.
No, when we did it at her house. That was like last year.
Was it? No, that was 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But that and Aki.
I don't like Aki.
The Aki was fire.
Aki is disgusting.
The Aki was fire. I really hope you enjoyed that clip. It still makes me laugh to this day. Since then, we got the pink pineapple. It was actually really good. I had her try the yellow watermelon. You get to see that on camera. What else? We've just been doing a lot of fruit this summer. So we had some lychee. Actually, I still got some left. What else have we had? Just so many different types of fruit. Organic blueberries from my blueberry bush. Love that. So yeah, we just been doing the thing. Now, this next clip is from an episode that got a lot of love and a lot of questions. This was when I talked about intermittent fasting, and it's called, I got my notes here, Fast First, Eat Later, The Truth About Intermittent Fasting. This is episode 10. And in this clip, I'm telling you basically the benefits of intermittent fasting. So check it out. Definitely leave me a comment and let me know what you think. And I'll see y'all after this clip. Now, let's go into the benefits of intermittent fasting. So I have it written down. So if you see me looking down, you already know I'm looking at my notes. Today, because it's been a day, I'm going to be honest with you. We got our water here. We also got some coffee, just some black coffee. So the benefits. Now, the first benefit, there was actually a study done in Spain in 2025. And in this study, they found that the patients that were in this study who practiced time restricted eating, which is basically intermittent fasting. They actually lost 9 pounds within 3 months, and they were able to keep that 9 pounds off for at least a year. And so they had, of course, a control group who didn't do the intermittent fasting. And in comparison, they found that with the intermittent fasting group. Now, 9 pounds in 3 months, that may not sound like a lot to some people, but honestly, it's great weight loss, within 3 months. Um, we often want instant weight loss, and we want instant gratification a lot of times, but sometimes it takes hard work and consistency. And so the good thing about intermittent fasting is if you stay consistent, a lot of times you will see a lot of these benefits. So that was number one. Second, there was a study in 2024, and they took about 108 patients, split them in half, and all of them had metabolic syndrome or some form of metabolic syndrome. So this is when your body metabolism is affected. So think insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes. All of these can be parts of some form of metabolic syndrome. So all of these people had some form of metabolic syndrome, and it was 108 of them. They split them in half. One half, they only had nutritional counseling. The other half had nutritional counseling and implemented intermittent fasting. And what they found was the group that implemented intermittent fasting, their hemoglobin A1C, which is a marker that we use to look at how high your blood sugar is over a 3-month period. And it's also a way that we're able to diagnose type 2 diabetes in general, right? It's one of the markers that we look at when it comes to diabetes. But they found that it actually was reduced by 0.10% in that group. They also experienced more weight loss without having any muscle loss, which is really good. So a lot of times, one of the downsides of like rapid weight loss, so when it comes to having like some type of bariatric surgery or taking bariatric shots like semaglutide, Ozempic, Trizipaglat, all those different things, right? When you have rapid weight loss, a lot of times if you're not careful and if you aren't monitoring it, you can lose a lot of muscle. So the good thing about this was they didn't lose muscle. Now, the third benefit is autophagy. So it actually helps with our cells in general. When you are intermittent fasting, actually being in that fasted window, it helps to promote good autophagy. So that's really good. Number 4 is gut health. I talk a lot about gut health. Eventually, we are going to have a whole episode on the microbiome. We might have an episode on gut health in general. I mean, it's just so much to explore, and it's one of honestly my favorite topics to kind of look into. And I actually had a professor when I was in school who she was always talking about the microbiome. And for whatever reason, she would always call on me in class. And she would call on me and I would get to the answer, but just know that I was putting and piecing stuff together in my head. I didn't really know it, but I would get there. And so she would call on me and I'd be like, please stop calling on me. I do not know. But instead of me just saying I didn't know, I would come up with the answer. And usually it would be pretty close if it wasn't right. Most times it would be right. But if not right, it was close. But anyway, so gut health. Studies have actually shown that when you are intermittent fasting, it helps to increase the good gut bacteria, also helps to reduce the bad gut bacteria. It also strengthens the intestinal barrier, which is really good. And then the last thing it does is it strengthens or it restores tight junction proteins, which can prevent leaky gut. Leaky gut is a situation where I mean, it's kind of what it sounds like, and it's not good for your body. So it helps to prevent all of those things. Number 5 is it actually helps to reduce inflammation. So it may reduce inflammation markers in the body, potentially lowering the risk of chronic disease. So it's very possible that it and likely that it does that. Number 6 is it also improves our cardiovascular health. And it does that by helping to reduce our blood pressure. It also helps to raise those HDLs, which is the good cholesterol. It lowers the LDLs, which is the bad cholesterol. And it helps with your triglyceride levels. So, all of that to say, with all of these benefits, if I'm being honest, I don't think intermittent fasting is a have to, but I do think that it's a good, viable option. As I say at the end of the clip, I don't think it's a have to, but it is something to think about, especially if, um, you're not having anything that goes against fasting. Like if you have to take medicine or something like that, definitely consult with your doctor. But it is something to think about. It's something to consider. Few years ago, I used to fast. I don't really fast now. I don't. I don't. I mean, I fast for like religious reasons. You know what I'm saying? Got to turn that plate over. But from a physical health standpoint, I don't really fast now. But I can see both sides. I can see the benefits of doing it, and I think that again, as I say, it's not a have to. So that was that was an interesting episode for me because it's just not something that I see a lot of dietitians talk about too much. I see a lot of influencers talk about it, but I really wanted to get down and do the research and figure out if it really was something worth doing or not. So I hope you got a good takeaway from that. And if you have tried intermittent fasting since then, definitely let me know. All right, we coming on down the road to the end of the episode. And the last clip that I wanted to show y'all today was one featuring my wife again. And this was actually our Juneteenth episode. This one was very fun because we kind of took a slight detour from talking about very specific topics related to food, and we kind of talked about it from the lens of the Black diaspora. We talked about Juneteenth and kind of why it came about, how it came about. We talked about it from a cultural standpoint. We talked about it from a food standpoint. And one thing that I really took to heart in as we were doing our research and just from things that we already knew, as well as us having the conversation here, was about food insecurity and how many people are affected by food insecurity. So I'm going to roll this clip. I did want to say before I roll this clip, I was making it real somber, it got serious. In the clip or in this episode, I say feedingamerica.com, y'all. It's feedingamerica.org. I mean, I hope you got there if you were looking for it. But if you were looking for it and never found it, it is called feedingamerica.org. So, anyway, check out this clip of me and my wife talking about food insecurities. So, the interesting thing about that, though, is we have seen that disparity kind of trickle down into life even today. One of the biggest ways that we see it is in food insecurities. I first started learning about food insecurities when I went back to school to become a dietitian. So this was, 6, 7 years ago. And that was kind of my first time even hearing the word. But I know as an attorney, you worked a lot with food insecurity. And when I became a dietitian, I got to work a lot, especially when I worked at a children's hospital with food insecurity. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Excuse me. Allergies. So a little bit about food insecurities and what I witnessed during my time working in the Delta. So a large portion of my job was also focused on food stamps. Mm-hmm. And whether people were trying to get food stamps, trying to keep their food stamps, or some people were experiencing reductions in their food stamps because of other things that happen over time. And, one of the things I used to often hear from clients that called with a food stamps problem, or SNAP benefits is what it's called actually here, is I don't know what I'll do without my food stamps. And so, it's something to be said about, how without that actual benefit, a lot of people didn't eat. They didn't eat at all. So it it was an eye opening experience. I mean, I remember getting my first case and my client being grateful for $28 in food stamps.
Yeah.
That was a very eye opening experience for me, because the cool thing about food stamps is, and when you're approved for programs like that, you often are also enlisted or made part of other benefits automatically. So you might be able to get, you know, assistance on rent, or you might be able to get assistance on your phone bill. So food stamps opens up even more stability for a lot of people. But the key takeaway is, without food stamps, a lot of people don't eat. Then on top of that, every place doesn't accept food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
So people often end up getting this benefit, having access to food, but it's usually the lowest quality food, because the Delta does not have a lot of fresh markets or Sprouts or anything, like, if any. They might have a local grocery store, mom and pop style, or they'll have just a standard Dollar General.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because I remember, again, in school I had to do a project just learning about Feeding America. And one of the things that you get to see when you go on their website is they literally have an aerial map that show you the difference between um, basically cities and rural areas and how close they are to an actual grocery store. It's estimated that 1 in 5 Black households have some form of food insecurity. So I know you kind of spoke about one part, which is that economic part. And then the other part to that, like I said, is literally, and you kind of spoke to that towards the end, is they don't have access. Like, there's not a grocery store um, within 30 or 45 minutes even. The other thing that's interesting to me is, even when you look in cities and stuff, because there are food deserts even in the city that we live in, right? And in Black neighborhoods, only about 8% of Black neighborhoods have some form of grocery store that's around, compared to most white neighborhoods. About 31% of them have a store that's like within the neighborhood. So you can kind of see it again just in our everyday life. And it's not so far removed that it feels intangible, which is kind of scary to think about.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, driving to court, and sometimes driving through the communities that my clients lived in, I would see some very heartbreaking things. From, you could see a lot of the Dollar Generals are like sheds, or they're in the most rural locations, where it's like, what, like, how, why is there a Dollar General randomly on this farm? That's what it literally looks like. But there's nothing within miles of that. It's like maybe a gas station.
I will say one thing that I appreciate about Dollar General is they have started an initiative to help with the food insecurity with, I think it's Dollar General X, where they have the fresh produce, but it's
or plus,
plus. But even that, like, some of them, the produce is old and it's very small. Like, the amount that you can get is not a lot. So
I witnessed that firsthand. I was my husband, ChefBoyRDN, had us doing meatless Mondays. And
child, I need to bring that back. Don't you want to bring that back?
Sure, sure. But I took on the challenge and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I remember coming back from work and I was starving. And I was like, dang, the only thing in sight for miles was Dollar General. All I kept seeing was Dollar General, Dollar General, Dollar General. And then when I saw that they had, you remember, I took a picture of it and sent it to you. I was like, oh, there's a Dollar General Plus. I remember going in there like, I'm going to get me some fruit. I'm going to get me something like a banana or something. Those bananas look so old. I was like, what? And again, it was heartbreaking, but this is the reality. This is the Delta. This is rural southern regions. Like, this is what life is.
Yeah. So food insecurity, as we said, affect so many people every single year. If you want to know more about it or if you want to help, you can definitely go to feedingamerica.com. That's a great resource to just start to learn more about it. Man, and just like that, 18 episodes have flew by. This has been an amazing experience. I appreciate everybody for going on this ride with me. This ain't the end. In the meantime, I'm going to take a little break. I got to work on some things so I can come back better, stronger, more efficient, funner, just all the good things to give y'all a good time. Okay? Because we got to learn, we got to laugh, and we got to do better. Right? Learn, laugh, and do better. I like that. So, with that being said, in the meantime, you can follow me on all of my social media platforms. It's going to be at ChefBoyRD.n. That is ChefBoyRD.n. That's on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And I'm going to definitely be posting clips, especially also on YouTube. I'm going to be posting a lot of different things. I got some cooking videos that people have been asking about that. I got some just places that me and my wife have been able to go. I'm going to be posting those. And so, yeah, until the next time, this is a wrap on season 1 of the Chef Boy RDN podcast. Let's go. It would be me toasting with water. Who does that? Me, because I love it. Drink your water. I'll talk to y'all later.